No, I really liked the movie. I liked how it was different than a lot of the other romantic comedies, dramas I've seen. Like there's twists and turns. It's sort of, you know, like M. Night Shyamalan sort of thing. It's like, oh, that did not go where I expected.
M. Night Shyamalan of romantic comedies.
That's on the poster.
Yeah, exactly. Says Blayne Weaver about himself.
I like it. How did you come to the source material to write? Like, how long did it take? When did you create this story?
Well, I was writing, and you know, I wrote a movie called Manic back in the day, which is a very dark movie about kids in a mental institution that I worked on with another writer, Michael McCall. And then I started writing things trying to sell scripts, you know. So I wrote a couple of romantic comedies that hit all these, you know, classic beats of what romantic comedies hit. And I just thought it'd be a really interesting movie if somebody made a comedy about actually dating. You know, it's like, it doesn't happen the way the romantic comedies happen, but it also doesn't happen the way that the, you know, it is real. And what's funny is, like, when you're single and you're out there and you're dating, there are tons of funny stories and tons of interesting things that happen. And, you know, there's love and loss and, you know, anger and jealousy and revenge, you know, there's all this stuff. But in a rational, real world that doesn't need somebody jumping on a horse and racing across the Brooklyn Bridge to stop a wedding, you know, that just doesn't happen. You know what I mean? And basically the source material was I wanted to make a movie that was something that I could relate to and was something that, you know, I could relate to the characters.
Anything you drew from real life experiences?
Everything.
I like
and people always ask me, you know, it's like, are you Tyler? And like, Tyler is he's an anti-hero, okay? He's a flawed character, but the truth is, I have been Tyler in my life, but I've also been Tyler's best friend, and I've also, in a way, been the Sophie character, you know? And they're all flawed. They all have their you know, their positives.
Yeah.
But it's about real people trying to navigate this world of romance and sex and love. And nobody is above that.
It's kind of like a next generation Swingers in a way.
I mean, yeah,
like all about dating and trying like love, loss, we get rejected, we reject, you know.
Right.
I've kind of felt like, oh man, it's kind of like, somebody hasn't seen Swingers or you're way younger than us, it might be that.
Yeah, I feel like that's, I take that as a huge compliment because I think that's a great example of a movie that's about funny people living life.
Yeah. As
opposed to a comedy where funny stuff happens, you know? This is about people and how they bounce against each other. And if they're funny and smart, like, you know, it's me and my best friends played by Martin Starr, who just can't not be funny.
Who was great, yeah.
You
Freaks
know?
and Geeks and...
Exactly. Freaks and Geeks is a perfect example. Yeah. I mean, he's this awkward, weird, the biggest nerd you've ever seen, and everything he says is hysterical. Not because he's a joke, but because he's smart and funny. And
was there a lot of improv on the set, or is it like strictly the script?
Well, I think I'm smart enough to know that I'm not Hemingway. So if you do something like hire Martin Starr or Dave Foley or John Michael Higgins, and you don't let them riff, then you're not getting the most for the talent that you have. You know, it's like I've been very lucky to surround myself both in front of and behind the camera with incredibly talented people. But it would be like me going up to my cinematographer and telling him, no, this is all wrong. You know, just put it on sticks and, you know, shoot. You take the talent around you and you make the project better. That's the goal.
Well, I read somewhere that through the production process over the years for this movie, you went through many actors with different roles. How'd you end up with the ones on the screen?
Well, you know, there's this, you know, ridiculous process, which I'm sure you're aware of, called development in Hollywood, which in the studio system means usually that your film, if you're me, you know, kind of a no-name in the Hollywood world, it means that your movie sits on a shelf, you know, for 3 or 4 years, and people bandy about different names and blah, 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 and it's like, you know, maybe this name is big, and that might get the movie made, so you kind of like, you end up compromising a little bit of what you think, because this is a bigger name, blah, blah, blah. And I did that dance for like 3 years, and then I just thought, you know, I did this movie Weather Girl, and we did it for absolutely nothing, and we got this amazing cast and crew together, because they wanted to make a good movie, and after that did well, and showed me that it was possible, I was like, you know, forget all this. I don't need a suit to tell me that, you know, this movie is now ready for the general public. You know, we went out, we raised money from an investor here in Dallas, actually, and we made the movie. And so the cast that we got is the cast that we should have had 5 years ago.
Yeah.
You know, it's like they're all perfect, the best actors for the part, and none of it is about trying to placate some studio head.
Yeah, that's good. Did having a cast with Starr, Foley, and Higgins and yourself, was there a lot of cutting up on set, like during takes? And
it was, I mean, it was amazing. And plus, you know, we shot the whole thing in Shreveport, Louisiana, which is a casino town nowadays. And
yeah, absolutely. I bet there's some
people are, you know, they never close. It's open till 4. Like there were nights where I would have a rough day and I'd be the last one to get back to the hotel. And we stayed at this hotel casino, and I'd walk in and I'd see the entire cast around the blackjack table. You know, and I'm like, you guys, we've got to go. Oh, you're winning, huh? All right, maybe I'll sit down for a little bit. I mean, it was incredibly fun. And, you know, those guys they're not only talented, but they enjoy the art of making movies, you know, which is what I'm there for, you know?
What got you into making movies?
Well, I started, it's a funny little path. I come to it all from being an actor. I started in theater in Shreveport, Louisiana. I came here to Dallas to audition when I was a teenager, and I booked a couple of jobs. And those jobs got me into the Screen Actors Guild, and I moved to Los Angeles. And I acted for a while, and I didn't like the parts I was auditioning for. I thought the scripts weren't very good. So me and a buddy, Michael Bacall, who's now the writer of 21 Jump Street and Project X recently, we collaborated on the script to write something to act in. So we did that movie. That movie was called Manic, and it was a great experience. But after that, I worked with another director that I didn't respect very much, and he made a pretty good movie, and I'm like, I can do this. If that guy can do this, I can direct. So that's how I got into directing, was just kind of like trying to protect the experience in the movie that I wanted to make from other people coming in and taking over.
All right. Yeah, no, absolutely, absolutely. What was your biggest challenge filming 6 Month Rule?
The biggest challenge filming 6 Month Rule was I've never worked on a film where the talent didn't know me as what I was doing, basically. So like, my first film, this movie Outside Sales, I acted it, directed it, and I cast all of my friends as the other actors, you know. So they didn't know me as a director, but they knew me as an actor, and it was great, you know. Then I did Weather Girl, where I just directed it, and I didn't act in it. And then I did this movie, and they all, when they asked for a sample, they got Weather Girl. And now I'm starring in this movie. So there was a little, like, I think a nervousness, intelligently so, about, you know, a writer, director, actor who's going to, you know, be in every scene of this movie and how that would play. So, I honestly, the biggest challenge was me not just getting neurotic and weird with other people, not having 100% confidence 100% of the time. You know what I mean? And so just getting out of my own way and, you know, pushing through, and everybody had a great experience in the movie.
Good. It seemed like they did. Being the director, a star, you're a writer, doing all that at once, does that get too much for you, or would you prefer to do one now that you're putting your hand in all the bowls?
I mean, no, it's awesome. You know, why wouldn't you want to do that? You know, it's like, look, it comes with a little more scrutiny. You know, people are, you know, looking at you a little harder than they would have if you were just the director, just the writer, just the actor. But I mean, if you can't take it, you shouldn't sign up for that to begin with. You know, it's like, it would be just great if I had a nervous breakdown in the middle of filming. It's like, come on, this is the greatest experience anybody can ever have, you know, and so many people do it, and I think do it well, you know. You've seen Kevin Costner do it, you've seen Woody Allen do it, you've seen, you know, some people do it not so good, but, you know, I think it's a fantastic job, and I'm not saying that I will act in every movie that I direct, or that I will direct every movie that I write, but I like it, and if there's another part that comes out that I feel like I can do this as well or better than anyone I could think to cast, and I'm cheap. So I wouldn't hesitate to do it again.
The execs love that.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, you're their best friend. I'm cheap.
I'm cheap. Keep the bottom line right there.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. What do you look forward most making a movie? When you start to make out, what's the thing you look forward to most? Editing, acting, directing, getting there on set.
I just love being on set, you know. And it's like when you do with this film where I did the 3 jobs. You're just in the middle of it all the time, you know, and it's so much fun. It's like you're collaborating with everyone that you've put around you, you know, to make the best product possible. And like, I don't really know, I don't separate the acting from the directing. You know, it's like I'm there on set, you know, and it's like if we stop to talk just like we would do if we were in a play or something, you know, it's oh hold on, let's do that again, blah blah blah, and making all of the cast feel comfortable and helping them put their best foot forward. I mean, that's the greatest thing in the world. It's like I'd rather be on set than anywhere. The rest of it is important, obviously, and you do that so that you can get on set again. At least for me, that's the whole goal, is just to get on set again. And in order to do that, I'm traveling with the movie and, you know, doing press and working on this theatrical thing and making sure that the movie itself is a success, so I get another shot.
That's good. I like that. At the end of the movie, I guess the very last scene with the two walking away, did you write anything after that to show just, you know, if he went back to his ways, if he actually found love, or whoever, maybe those two got together, you know, if they loved each other, you know, friend-wise. But
well, we shot a. No, not really. We talked about it.
Okay.
We talked a lot about, you know, the ending of the movie, which I'm not going to spoil. But I think you kind of discover that the love story you've been watching isn't the love story you thought you were watching, you know, and that's the point, you know, and that's, I feel like we structured the movie, hopefully, so that at the end there is no other alternative ending. And we did talk about it, like when we were there, we discussed what if this doesn't work in the editing room, what if, you know, people are disappointed, you know, and I don't want to ruin the ending, but I think that on second viewing it becomes very clear that the movie might not be about what you think it's about in the first time.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, I watched it twice. As you said earlier, that some of this was drawn from personal experience.
Yeah.
At the beginning of the movie, there's the montage of breaking up with people.
Right.
What's the best breakup you've ever been through, or the funniest one?
That could come back to haunt me, I couldn't imagine. Best breakup I've ever been through. Well, none of them have been very pleasant. Let's put it that way.
Okay.
I have certainly walked away from things that were great and walked away from things that like I should have run from. I don't know, I can't, because you know they'll watch this and then I'll hear about it. Yeah, exactly. You're talking about me.
That's really funny. So you're obviously passionate about film and everything about it, and acting, directing. There are any directors, actors, artists that shaped your creative life?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's such a hard question. Like, I love movies, you know, and I've never been to film school, you know. It's like I learned what I know from being on film sets and loving films, you know. So, I mean, there's such a long list of talented directors, but like through this process, I have found myself talking a lot about actor-directors, you know, and you know, it's very, you know, Woody Allen, I think, is kind of the archetype for what I'm trying to do with this film. You know, it's not a romantic comedy; it's a relationship dramedy. You know,
in the main character protagonist is the, you know,
and it could, you know, and it's like there are times Woody Allen could have cast, you know, some Leo DiCaprio to play him, you know, but he usually doesn't. You know, it's him, and he's flawed, and his imperfections bring the reality to that. You know, so I think it's a really good. It's hard to say that though, because Woody Allen's, you know, a genius, and you know, I'm me, you know. So it's like a Woody Allen movie. It sounds a little pretentious.
Well, it reminded me, I guess, in that montage opening scene, reminded me of Deconstructing Harry with Woody Allen and him talking to his therapist, and him like the cut scenes, like, I don't know, and then this that reminded me of that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he's obviously, I feel like he opened the door for independent film in a lot of ways, like not just independent film, but what the Renaissance man or the filmmaker can do, you know, and it's followed up later, you know, by like say, you know, Ed Burns, who I think, you know, his first movie totally kicked open doors, but now you have him kicking open
Confidence,
doors.
right?
What's that?
Confidence, right?
Confidence is
It was
key.
awesome. Yeah.
Oh yeah. No, he didn't direct it, but he was in it.
I thought he directed that for some reason. No, he did not.
No, but he was great in that.
Okay. I swear.
He did that. He opened with Brothers of Kamal.
That's right.
Made a couple of others that weren't my favorites, but like now he's kind of like this icon in the indie world where he's doing these non-traditional rollouts, you know, and it's great. It's like giving the power back to the filmmaker, which I think is really exciting.
That's great. So let's talk about Peter Pan. You're the voice for Peter Pan.
I am the voice for Peter Pan. Yeah.
How long have you been the voice for Peter Pan, and what cool incentives do you get from the Disney Vault being Peter Pan?
All right. Well, about 10 years, I guess. I did a movie called Return to Neverland, which is Disney's sequel to Peter Pan, and I was just a young lad at the time, and Disney has been nice enough to use me over and over. I mean, that's a cool part. Come on, who doesn't want to be Peter Pan? But if you like Peter Pan, this movie is not for you. It's a little for the older age, but the cool incentives were my mom came to California to see the premiere of Peter Pan, and they let us into Disneyland. Totally free.
That's awesome.
Totally free.
Totally free.
I didn't get to cut in line or anything, but it was totally free.
That's great. That's great. And you're still with that, right?
Yeah.
You're still doing Peter Pan.
Absolutely. You know, every once in a while I just did a video game for them. They're great, and it's such a fun job, you know?
Okay. That's awesome. I think that's great. And you did a movie called Losing Lois Lane about a depressed Superman, right?
Depressed Superman, which was very much like the Woody Allen of Superman.
You need to call Woody Allen. Tell him he needs to play an older Superman.
Superman. The world needs it. You know, that was my first short film, and actually the formation of my production company with my business partner, Bryan.
Who's in the movie, right? He's the bartender, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we're both, we grew up together, and we, you know, decided to make a short film. This was like after I just worked with a bad director, and I'm like, I want to direct, I want to do something. And we came up with this idea of Superman getting dumped and losing all will to save anybody, and it was pretty funny. And I'm really proud of it. You know, we didn't know what the hell we were doing. We were just stumbling through the process of making something, but it did well enough to inspire our first film, Outside Sales, which did well enough to finance Weather Girl, which did well enough to finance 6 Month Rule. And so, obviously, that's my mandate, is to, you know, do well with 6 Month Rule, so I get to make another one.
So is there any future projects that you have written or coming up with?
Are you kidding me? You think I'd be sitting here without a future project? Absolutely.
How many do you have, and what genre, and what can you tell me about?
We've got a couple of different ones. We've got one that's a rodeo film that I'm really excited about. That's a little bigger budget, and we've got another smaller one that's a heist movie, kind of a more dark and gritty, you know, robbery movie, which I love those movies.
Oh, yeah.
And, you know, it's like I'm looking forward to trying something else and switching genre a little bit, and you know, and getting to do some rough and tumble, you know, indie filmmaking.
Are those slated to start production in this year, next year?
Well, they're slated for us to start going out for money, you know, as soon as 6 Month Rule, you know, finishes its theatrical.
Okay.
It hits video on demand August 7th.
Okay, yes.
So check that out. And then it'll be on DVD in November. So about August, when my job is done here, you know, then we'll start looking for financing for the next one.
Any extras on the 6 Month Rule?
Are you kidding me? Yes.
What do you got? Bloopers?
You gotta see Blooper Reel with Dave Foley and Martin Starr. I mean, I'm not kidding you. I went through the blooper reel the other day, and I had to pull all these things that I think we would probably get sued for that Martin said. You know, like you can't talk about that person. But it's very raw. It's very funny. You know, and they're just really fun behind-the-scenes stuff. You know, we'll do a audio commentary and you know the like. So I like the bells and whistles of DVD Blu-ray. Some people don't, but
I do too.
Me, man,
huge fan.
I almost want to jump to the.
We got to market this for Criterion release, because I don't think they have.
I think so too. In 40 years, you can interview.
Yeah.
When we
got the Criterion. It's the latest
film. Yeah, those are good. That's me old.
That's you old. I got that.
That's the
Is that Peter Pan old as well?
Yeah, that's Peter Pan old.
Now I'm gonna geek out a little bit.
Oh, now you are?
Yeah, now it's completely. I love people. I like talking with people who love movies and passionate about it, and you always seem like that. What are some of your favorite scenes in movies that have stuck with you, or like a beacon for you growing up?
Well, I hate to be cliche, but you know, my favorite movie is Casablanca. And,
okay.
The last scene in Casablanca is a very important scene to me, and there's a bit of an homage in 6 Month Rule to that scene, but that's an important scene to me. And oh man, there's so many. What else? You know, when Michael Corleone shoots the cop right into the throat.
I just watched that, actually.
What a great scene.
It's a great scene.
You know, you got. I always think of Raising Arizona when we have these conversations of little bits, because those scenes were so tight. Like the whole thing is the fight scene in the trailer is like one of the best action scenes I've ever seen. You know, I don't know. There's a couple, but you know, untold, so many.
No, Raising Arizona is amazing. What remarkable things do you find out about yourself and on film when you're on set and you're in the thick of it? What do you?
You know what? I discovered my paternal instinct. You know, it's like I don't have kids. It's just me, and I didn't realize that I was capable of feeling so protective over not only the project but the individuals involved. And it's such a vote of confidence when an artist, whether it's a cinematographer, an editor, or an actor, you know, will do an independent film and fight for it. And not just show up and hit their marks and say their lines, but like fight to make the movie better. And those people, like, it's really something to feel that protectiveness over them because they've given so much to you. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, cool.
So that was new. That was new. You know, it's like to be like the protective father figure, which is something I feel I am in my regular life. But you know, when it comes to the film, that's something that I discovered.
That's cool. That's a cool thing. It's like your baby.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. It's like,
it fully is, and it's like I feel like I don't really have the right to use that comparison because I don't have kids. But it's like, you know, you think at a certain point that you're going to be able to take the movie and hand it off to another entity, whether it be a distributor or, you know, whether it be a studio or whatever. That my job is done. I've done the art. Now my job. That's not true. You're never done. You're always protecting it, and always pushing it, and always, you know, taking it to the next level. You know, in like 3 years, I'll be dealing with business sides of things just to make sure that, you know, my executive producer is taken care of and the actors are getting their residuals and, you know, that kind of thing. And it's like being a parent in that figurative way where your job's never done. There's always worry. There's always, you know, support to be given, and it's never like, oh, that was the year of this movie. No, movies keep going. I'm still dealing with Weather Girl. I still deal with outside sales issues, you know. Losing Low Flame is the only one that doesn't hassle me.
I'm surprised.
Doesn't keep calling and asking for money.
Yeah, Zack Snyder calling you? What's going on?
He should have.
He should have. Pay you rights.
This guy that they got.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Come on.
I love a way more like Superman.
Two-part question. That's fun. What's the most interesting thing you've ever caught on film, and what's the most interesting movie you own? Weird movie you own.
What's the most interesting weird
movie you own, and what's the most interesting thing you caught on film?
Well, okay, in 6 Month Rule, there's a scene where the girl that I'm smitten over gets on a little motorcycle and drives off into the distance, and I turn around and walk towards camera, and you can see her in the background. And right after we cut, in the take that's in the movie, she falls off the motorcycle in a very dramatic way, and you see my face kind of be like, and then run down into the distance to check on her. She made it through okay. Everybody lived. But it was very dramatic, and it's a piece of tape that is like, I couldn't look at it for a really long time.
Put it on the Blu-ray?
Because it's pretty brutal, yeah. And the weirdest movie I own is, I don't know, that's a hard one, but I do, it's not exactly the answer to your question, but I own a copy of Grease, 24 class at Parkway High School that is really bad and really weird, and I rock Danny Zuko. Not at all. I can't sing. It's horrible. But that's probably the weirdest movie that comes out every once in a while.
That's awesome. Does that come out at parties or?
Oh jeez. Well,
you bring a girl home or something.
After a couple of drinks, I say, hey, let's watch me play Danny Zuko. It has a couple of times. Every 10 years, I'll pull it out and be like, this should be funny. Oh my God, stop it, stop playing. But yeah, I don't know, what's the weirdest movie I have? Geez, I don't know. People keep giving me weird movies, you know, and I watch them and give them back. And, I think most of mine are pretty standard.
Okay, all right.
I own 19 copies of Return to Neverland. Does that do anything for you?
it's a world record.
Yeah, exactly.
Have you watched each of them?
No. Just for when my friends have kids.
Okay, you give them, yeah, there you go.